Okay, so we've already added a lot of flexibility in our code by using these for loops, which of course allow us to create a variable or utilize a variable, and then replace a particular argument within a function. So we get a nice organized piece of code with a lot less lines. It's also going to allow us to do things that would be very, very difficult to do just line by line by line, or certainly hard to keep track of. And the next thing we want to do is we want to organize our code one more level up and add some additional features to it. So what we want to do is we want to create something called functions. Okay, with these two already right here, actually all these things are functions, but we have our setup function and we have our loop function. And you'll notice both of these actually begin with the word void. And that essentially means that they don't return anything. They don't return a value. They're void of a return. All right. So when I run setup, it runs its little program, and then it's simply done. Right? It doesn't send anything back. Same with loop. Loop is just going to run in a loop over and over and over and over again. It doesn't send anything back. Okay. And it'll make more sense when we create a new function. So I'm actually going to save as. I'm going to save as this, and make myself a new one. I'm going to with functions. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead now and create a void function. Okay. I'm going to put a little divider here because I like my sense of organization. And I'm going to start with the word void because I don't want it to sing. Well, we will actually do non-void functions, but right now we're going to make a void function. It's simply going to run, and it's not going to send anything back. And I'm going to call it flash up, which means it's going to flash the lights in the upward sequence. And these parentheses here are going to be able to hold arguments. See how we have arguments in here? We're actually not even going to need that at this moment. We simply want to have a placeholder that I could use for putting some additional information in. And the open brace and close brace, and you'll notice with Arduino generally if you just hit enter, it automatically places the close one. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to simply copy, I'm going to control X, copy, cut, put that right there. Okay? So now what I've done is I've taken all the contents of my program that was in loop, and I've put it in this function called flash up. So now if I simply call this function by doing nothing more than placing its name with the parentheses and then a semicolon, it will essentially do the exact same thing. It's simply going to call flash up. It jumps down here. It's going to get itself stuck in the loop. It's going to go ahead and go up like this. And then once it's done with it, it's going to come back to this position. But of course, we're in a loop, so it's going to call it over and over and over again. Okay? So if I load this up, and I'll pause while it loads, we'll see actually essentially no change. But I'll be right back. And sure enough, it's behaving exactly as it did before, because all I've done is call a function instead of having this code within the loop. But the beautiful thing is going to be what we can do in organization by simply creating more and more functions and more capacity. Eventually, obviously, we're going to do really cool things, but we'll get there. So I'm going to copy this whole block right here, and I'm going to paste it right there, and I'm going to call it flash down. Okay, so in this case, I want to make the lights go up and then go down. So I can do that by simply working with my math here. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to start at 9, and I want to go down to 2, and I want to go down until it is, I want to keep going down until it is either greater than or equal to 2. And you might have guessed, to make it go down, I'm going to use minus minus, and it's going to go down by just 1. So now, if I call flash down, okay, what'll happen is we'll go up and then we'll go down. All right, so let me load this up and we'll We'll verify it, and I'm going to verify and load, but I'm going to pause, so I'll be right back. Alright, so it's done, and sure enough, it's going up, and it's going to go back down. Notice how it flashed that twice? It's probably going to do the same thing here, because what we do is we go up here, we flash, and then when we reach this point, we flash again and then go down. So really, to make it a little, more elegant, maybe what I really want to do is go to 3, because then it'll only flash these end lights one time. Okay, let's see what happens if I do that. So we'll load it up. So it's going to do the complete sequence from 2 to 9 going up. Flash. And now it's going to go straight to 8. Okay? So we've added a lot of capacity here, and we can do some really cool things. So I think what I'm going to do now is I'm going to rearrange. Well, I'm going to do one last thing. Okay? Let me show you something super cool. Let's just make it so that it lights them all up. So I'm going to take these, and I'm simply going to comment it. And so now what's going to happen is it's only going to turn things on. And in this particular case, I'll comment this. Okay, so now it's only going to turn things off. And I'm going to bring this back from 9 to 2, so hopefully it'll turn them all off. So what should happen is it'll zip up, turn them all on, and then turn them all off in sequence. So we'll see them all light up. So you can then guess that I could turn on lights, multiple lights, by simply calling 2 highs in sequence. So let's load this up and see what it does. And again, I wish I could increase my frame rate, because this 500 is really boring and slow, but at least you should be able to see it with the video rate. Okay? So there you go. So let me end this sort of demonstration, and then my next video is going to be your challenge. So I'll see you again really soon.